Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Goose Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about Meshuggah's brand new album, Immutable. First thoughts on the album. I think it's a very strong album by Meshuggah. I think that compared to their last few albums, it's the strongest. There's some really good riffage in this album. Um, very cool sounds. It's pretty amazing how Meshuggah can take this palette of musical sounds and sort of it's a limited palette. It feels like, or it seems like, but they take these like this toolkit of sounds and just makes such a vast soundscape out of them. It's pretty incredible. Like how they just have these like repeating sort of like rhythms throughout these whole songs, and then they have these other rhythms that almost like gravitate or circulate around these like steady framework of rhythms. It's pretty incredible. And um so top 3 tracks from the album, I'd have to say and the number 3 spot would have to be Phantoms. Especially the end of the song. I feel like the end of the song, maybe even like the last 2.5 minutes, that it takes a different kind of sound, which Meshuggah, it seems like they kind of do that a lot. They start a song with a certain sound, and then it sort of just trances out. It brings you into this trance, and then transitions into something completely different, or not even completely different, but it takes those sounds and almost like inverts them and reverses them or speeds them up or whatever, and gives us a whole different perspective of those sounds. So, but yeah, particularly the end of Phantoms is pretty incredible. My number 2 spot for that would be I Am Thirst, or I Am the Thirst would be the correct actual name title of the song. And what I like about this song, once again, the song transitions about halfway through and just becomes this really crazy rhythmic sort of uh, framework. And but what really makes this one a little bit of a standout over Phantoms is the rhythms that they're creating. It's almost like they lay them down forward, and then they almost like play these rhythms like backwards and like rewind the whole riff back and then play it again and then rewind it back, and it's just like, wow, man, I wish I could remember the actual minute mark where this happens. But if you listen to the song all the way through, it's really in like the last 3 or 4 minutes that it makes that transition. And it's such a beautiful, or beautiful might be the wrong way to put it, but really gritty, hardcore, fucking awesome sort of riffage there. And my number 1 spot, I'd have to say Armies is by and far, to me, the best track on the album. It's a breakneck pace, which is kind of what I expect from Meshuggah. I mean, I do love the bouncy sort of slowed down rhythmic Meshuggah, but I feel like Meshuggah's bread and butter is just that breakneck sort of machine gun drumming, sort of just relentless sort of riffs. So I feel like I get that from Armies. The lyrics are really great. Uh, yeah, everything about the song is pretty much like Meshuggah distilled into a single song. So I thought that was a pretty good one. As far as least favorable tracks, I would say um, probably Ligature Marks, just because it's the most. Even just the name of the song is very ordinary compared to everything else. Everything else in the album is so cosmic and grand. Whereas I felt like that one was just sort of, it was a very grounded song, which, you know, it could be just to add a little bit of grounding in there because the thing is so grandiose and huge. But yeah, I just felt like that was maybe the one song that didn't fit the rest of the album. Um, which, speaking of vocals, that would be one of my only criticisms of the album is that I feel like because I have heard him do some clean vocals here and there, I think that if he were to give us a little bit more diversity in vocal range throughout the album, that could be pretty beneficial because what makes screaming so great to me is whenever I hear it in contrast to another type of voice. So like if you have a little bit of clean vocal and then a good bit of screaming, it makes you realize like just how heavy and powerful that screaming is. Um, and that's not to say that the vocals aren't really good in this album. They're great. Like I love them. I love screaming in my metal. But I'll just say that I think that if you had a little bit of contrast, a little bit of diversity of vocal range in there, it could be a little bit better. But that's really my only criticism of the album. I think it's great. Like the album artwork, obviously, is always great with Meshuggah. It always evokes a sort of sense of dread, or even if it is like, it almost reminded me of like Alex Gray sort of visionary art, but like inverted, where it's like dark visionary art. And I love that kind of balance that they also add in there. Like everything is very balanced. Like the song Kaleidoscope kind of uh, evokes a certain level of balance, I think, because they're talking. The words are almost somewhat inspiring. Almost. There's some stuff about maddening and going crazy in there, but some of it is kind of inspirational too, and it's just interesting to hear it on such a dark overlay of sounds and music. But um, yeah, so how I would rank the album, which by the way, this is the first time I'm using a ranking system, but going forward, I will be ranking all of the albums that I review. And the ranking pretty much goes S plus, S, A plus, A, etc. So S plus obviously being the top. So where I would put this album, I'd probably put it about A plus. I thought maybe, if they brought in just a little bit more diversity of vocals, a little bit more diversity of instrumentals, uh, a little bit more in their sound toolkit, if they would have brought a little bit more of that, I think that it could have been a little bit more of a well-rounded album. But that being said, I think that the album is phenomenal, and it definitely deserves a place in the A plus tier. And that could move up for me in the future upon listening to it more and more. But I've heard it about 3 times now, and I think an A plus position for it is about right. So, but what do you guys think? Leave me some comments below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on the album is. And if you want to check out some more reviews by me, just click the channel link below, and there's all kinds of other videos to check out. So, anyways, peace and balance, guys, and take it easy.